Hello to all our listeners who are joining us today on our hydrogen podcast series. Today's episode is focused around electrolyzers and specifically some of the challenges that the industry is facing around scaling up of capacity. And this is really going to be a very critical piece if we're going to be, getting the green hydrogen economy off the ground. So joining me today to discuss some of these challenges is Devon Hyver from Plug Power. Welcome, Devon. I'm very happy to have you with us today. Firstly, I'd just like to start off by asking you to give a little bit of background around Plug Power and what your specific role there is.
Hey, thank you so much, Joyce, for having me today and representing Plug Power. Very exciting being here. So Devon Hyver, I'm the sales director for Europe, Middle East, Africa, and India on the electrolyzer business unit we have and with Plug since a long period of time now, starting in Europe. Very exciting, and as everyone from close or from far from the green hydrogen market, I know Plug Power is 25 years old company roughly. Where is a very strong deployment historically in the fuel cell application, where our CEO and the team around him 15 years ago decided to find a real market for hydrogen and for fuel cell, where you have captive fleet, so especially for forklift application. And we started with some very important and pedestal accounts such as Walmart, Amazon, a BMW, where we have a 600 forklift running 24/7 on this on different logistics centers. So it was amazing. But why captive fleet? Because on captive fleet model, what you have is you don't need to deploy a complete new infrastructure all over the place. Ground support equipment or forklift inside a logistics center was really the perfect journey for a fuel cell. Then the customer starting to ask us, hey, what about the infrastructure? Can you do it yourself? And we grew here and starting to deliver infrastructure around the fuel cell where you replace directly the battery. However, back in the time, as you can imagine, most of the hydrogen available, similar to today, were green hydrogen. And this gray hydrogen, and this gray hydrogen was provided by all the historical oil and gas suppliers, same as of today. Plug Power was buying this gray hydrogen and then supplying it to our own customer. And they love the solution. It's amazing benefit, the saving that you're able to do, the full usage of your fleet, almost 24 hours out of 24 compared to battery when you need to recharge a battery. So you improve your performances on the ground. And what I've done, the guy, at one point, he came back to us at Plug, we love your solution, however, we need to decarbonize our logistic. We are under pressure by politicians and by end customer. So what can you do? We went back to all our gray hydrogen supplier and asked them, dear supplier, please, we need green. They didn't trust in green. So we asked for years. And at one point of time, Plug Power was able to get up to $5 million cash and decided to take our own face in our own hands and said, hey, you know what, we are the best in the fuel cell, let's be the best in the electrolyzer and produce green hydrogen to deliver our customer with this green hydrogen. So it's where we started. We acquired a company named Giner, 35 years of expertise supplying PEM stack to produce hydrogen in the nuclear or submarine, for example, the US Navy or the NASA space station. It's more than 25 stack deployed in the market with the best stack you can find there, with 40 bar direct output in the pressure, 99.1% purity on the hydrogen. So that was amazing. And then we acquired also different other company around this green hydrogen ecosystem that we try to build to deliver not only a product as a fuel cell to our customer, but a solution to decarbonize completely the logistic. So we acquired Frames. It's a big engineering oil and gas company that have 35 years of experience of building product and project. That was very exciting with a strong presence in Europe and in India. We acquired also Joule processing for the liquefaction of hydrogen with amazing performances on the product, because in the US, due to the very long distance from the production point to the delivery of hydrogen, liquid is really an amazing benefit. We acquired ACT, Applied Cryotechnology, also for the liquefaction and the transport and tank of liquid hydrogen. So that was a great journey. And out of all these different acquisitions, we develop electrolyzer solution that we use for ourselves. Like you can see on YouTube, if you go on Plug Power website, you will see we have built the largest green hydrogen plus liquefaction plant you got in the US, exactly in Georgia, Peachtree and Pathfinder. There's two different sites. It's a 15 ton per day production plant with a target to go up to 45 ton in the coming years. So that's really exciting, and that's where we are today in a big world. We started from a couple hundred person, and now we are roughly 4,000 employees. We have a strong target this year to achieve $1.4 billion in revenues, 60,000 fuel cell in operation, $1 billion operating hours on the fuel cell. It's roughly 2 billion kilometers that we have been able to do. We target to have 500 ton per day production of green hydrogen by 2025 and 4 gigawatt of electrolyzer installed. And as from a financial perspective, Plug Power is able to also finance their own project. We have still a strong balance sheet with $2 billion available to invest in our production capacity, production of equipment, but production plant as well, where we produce this green hydrogen for our own customer and own usage of it.
Okay, I mean, it's an amazing story of growth over the years and how you've managed to kind of build out your capabilities and follow the market. I was listening to I think it was an analyst presentation that was done a week or so ago, and your CEO, Andy Marsh, was presenting there. I think they were at the Gigafactory in Rochester, New York. He was doing a site tour for all the analysts. He was extremely proud of what he's managed to accomplish there. You talked a little bit about some of the ambitions that Plug has. Where are you focusing specifically in terms of your capacity? I know you've got some sites in Finland. Are you? I guess the first question is why Finland, and then do you have plans elsewhere in Europe as well?
So there is different things to take into consideration. Rochester is a factory where we produce the PEM stack and the PEM fuel cell. We announced to the market that we already are producing up to 100 megawatt per month of PEM stack to be able to build PEM electrolyzer in the end. What we have announced in Finland, the 2 gigawatt plant, is planned to produce green hydrogen, not to produce stacks. So that you need the stacks, that is the heart of the electrolyzer, to produce in the end the green hydrogen. So the plant that we have in Rochester is really where we produce the PEM stack and the PEM fuel cell. We have mutualized the production. It's our first gigafactory that has been built by our amazing team there. That's very impressive. Every customer that go there, the big oil and gas corporation to all the international potential customer from Europe, from US, North Africa, Australia as well, they all call us after this and say, wow, that's amazing. We have seen a lot of garage and now seeing this gigafactory producing. That's very impressive. So no, we are very I'm super glad that we've been able to achieve such quite a lot of effort, but it's the first in the world gigafactory that produces PEM stack and PEM fuel cell all together. And that's very exciting, and it helps us to answer also the market needs. Today, if you can see, we have a home plant that we are building, but there is also customer plant to produce green hydrogen in order to generate this green hydrogen, achieve decarbonization of their different industry, ammonia producer, refinery, methanol in the second, and sustainable aviation fuel is starting to be a big thing as well. And we'll see many other potential markets that need green hydrogen to displace a bit the gas, the productivity, CO2 emission, unfortunately, today.
Okay, and so your electrolyzers, you're producing 1 gigawatt, 5 gigawatts, and that's really for a range of different applications then?
Absolutely. So we have different model of electrolyzer to enter the market. We will go with 5 megawatt fully containerized electrolyzer, mostly for project developer. It's a pilot you will see in small environment around mobility, often, and why this product is perfect for pilot or for project developers. Because often project developers don't have the same capability to manage a project than historical oil and gas or industrial players that will know to manage a complete balance of plants. And I think all the experts in the electrolyzer industry will start to understand how you develop a project and know it when I'm talking about it a bit. But the package is coming with the stack, obviously, where the magic all happen, but you need also a water purification system to be sure that the water bring to the stack is completely clean and to have in the end the best performances on the product. Then from the stack, you have your hydrogen at 40 bar directly, 70 C, going to what we call hydrogen purification units. And this system, all included in the container of 5 megawatts, allow you to produce 2 tons per day out of water and electricity at 99.999 purity. So we call it 5.9. This purity will allow mobility to use fuel cell directly in any vehicle. So for example, Plug Power have a joint venture with IDEA in Europe for light commercial vehicle, delivery vans, minibuses. They cool, and they have on their site, by the way, a Plug Power electrolyzer, produce their own hydrogen, refuel it in 5 minutes, and then they have complete autonomy of 300 to 500 kilometers with this green hydrogen produced directly on the site. And that will be the purpose of this fully containerized solution. Also, you have everything inside the system. So you don't need to develop an overall plant. Your control logic, your eyes up, your safety is already done. So that's why it is. Up to 50 megawatt often will use this 5 megawatt block, so 10 of them for 50 megawatt. And then we have also arrays. So for the curious one, either you send me an email or you contact us directly through LinkedIn or through whatever platform you want. Or you can go on our YouTube website and you will see the presentation of the Georgia plant. Inside the building, you have 5 megawatt arrays, or it will be 10 megawatt arrays, and then in the second part of the project. And this arrays is what we use for large plant. What we call arrays is a 10 megawatt system with a balance of stack. So you don't have the water purification, you don't have the hydrogen purification unit, because this one part of the project often are mutualized with the overall of the project. For example, if you do a methanol plant, you will have one common water treatment package, and often you will have also a common control room, common cooling system that is taken into consideration. And then the HPU have to be customized and defined according to the process that you have in the end after your electrolyzer. So from 99.1, you will get the exact purity of hydrogen needed. Most important part is the oxygen often. And sorry if I'm too technical here.
Okay, so you have different options for that are more suitable for different applications.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Just taking a step back to have a look at the electrolyzer market for a second. In the conversations that I've had with various people in the industry, there's some concerns around the lead time for electrolyzers, which they're saying is, minimum of 18 months. And that obviously has huge implications, right? Because that means that you need to secure your electrolyzer supply very early on in the project development stage. And I guess also there's a potential for there to be quite a significant bottleneck in trying to scale up the green hydrogen economy. Just curious to hear your thoughts on that. Is that something that you're seeing? And if so, can you maybe explain why we're seeing this sort of backlog?
I'm not seeing a major backlog in terms of production time. What I'm seeing is a lot of people that are waiting to get the permit to start their project. And as soon as they get the permit, they want the project tomorrow morning. Unfortunately, what we are seeing in project development, the longest part of the project is more the paperwork, unfortunately. In Europe, it's quite a big thing, sometimes 18 to 24 months just to get access to the permit. And the people that want to invest are waiting for this permit. As soon as the permit is done, they want to move full blast and full speed. If you have done a proper project execution plan and you have done a proper, what we call FEED, front-end engineering design, where Plug Power participates with the EPC and the end customer to define exactly the right schedule, I don't see the electrolyzer as being an issue in terms of delivery. On the fully containerized solution, with the right information at the beginning, we're able to supply it in much less than 18 months. 12 months is something that we have seen quite often. As a matter of fact, we are producing quite a lot of electrolyzer lately, and we have possibility to deliver on a fast pace. We need to know some critical information, for example, what will be the grid that you have available, and it allows us to validate if the PCS, so power converter solution, is available. That was one of this bottleneck we had previously on the market, because as you know, the PV industry is going up, the wind industry is going also through the roof, and the electrolyzer market, especially at Plug with the PEM solution for the containerized, is skyrocketing. So the power conversion system that is common to all this business need to be taken in consideration quite at the beginning. However, with our stack capabilities today, we're able to deserve our customer in a very fast fashion, and we have found different strategy to allow to deserve the customer. What I'm seeing a lot is people telling, hey, it's long, yeah, we want to do thing. What I'm not seeing a lot is people taking FID and sending orders. So this, I'm not talking about Plug, I'm talking about the market. As you have seen, less than 1% of all the projects that you can find anywhere went to FID. Mm-hmm. And there is a lot of things taken into consideration. Permits, obviously, is something that is taking quite a long period of time, especially in European or Latin country. And another thing to take into consideration is there is a lot of persons waiting for subsidies, and the subsidies are sometimes not retroactive. So if you start your plant before being awarded or before getting the subsidies, and you count on the subsidies to be successful in your business plan, then you can lose one more year, unfortunately.
So you're seeing permitting and the ability to get subsidies, and the time that it takes to do this as one of the major challenges in the industry. What other major factors do you think are kind of halting the scale up or the implementation of kind of large scale electrolyzer deployment?
No, very important thing to take into consideration also the regulation that are putting in place. For example, everyone was moving full blast with one technology, alkaline, due to the nature of this technology, due to the fact that the capex is very competitive today. It's 120 years old and very easy technology to do. So it's why we are seeing a lot of competition in this alkaline market. Plug Power, we are on PEM, so it's a bit different, but the new regulation came out, and with the Delegate Act starting 2028 in Europe, you need to use the electricity in less than an hour that it's produced. So you will have a lot of intermittence, especially if you run with solar and wind and a mix of different electricity. Then all these companies that have developed the project for 1 year, 2 years with alkaline technology understood completely that if they want a very competitive levelized cost of hydrogen, or LCOH, on the 25 years period of life of the electrolyzer, they're running after us. When I say us, it's Plug, but all the PEM manufacturer, because they need a very good product, and there is not that much PEM manufacturer that are doing today over 100 megawatt project like we are doing, for example, in the Netherlands with Uniper and the Technip. So that is very exciting. And all these people, due to the new regulation, there is a big changes, and they need to come back and adapt to this new regulation if they want their end product being qualified RFNBO. So this is very important. And 2028 is not tomorrow morning, but it's tomorrow end of the day, right? Mm-hmm. It's not far away. You need to adapt your product for. So that's something that is important to take into consideration. Second thing that I see, I don't know if I should put it first or second, but the local infrastructure, right? An electrolyzer need electricity. Usually the grid in Europe are good. You can use a new dedicated grid for it. So that's important to have good relationship with the local TSO that will provide you the grid connection, especially on large scale. But water is something very important. I think water is something in some areas that is a rare resource, unfortunately. And an electrolyzer will consume a lot of water just by theoretical reaction. You apply the water inside, you get your electricity, and then you get hydrogen outside of the electrolyzer being produced. You lost some of this water, you can recover some of it in the hydrogen purification process or in the oxygen event of the electrolyzer, depending on the technology you are using. Some company want to use cooling tower to cool down the electrolyzer, using a lot of water resources. Us, usually we put a dry cooler in this rare area where you have poor resources available. So that's important to take into consideration. And then third thing, what do you have around your project? If you have a project that is nearby an industrial zone, that is not with too much potable source of water, you don't have too many issues to use, for example, alkaline technology, and that would be a perfect mix with PEM in some scenario. But if you are nearby potable source of water and far away from any big industry, how do we recycle your KOH? That's something that is very important to take into consideration. And if your chloroxide potassium, for whatever reason, we have a leak, like it happened last 2 years ago in Germany with one of my colleagues on the market, it will be a disaster, not only for the electrolyzer plant, but also for the local environment. And we don't want to add more problem to what we are trying to solve today. So that's something important to take into consideration. We have seen some project coming with very big plans for electrolyzer had a very large impact on the potential farmers around. So it was a challenge. We had to find different alternatives to be able to withstand together on this one. So that's some challenges that we could see in the future on the water system and the local infrastructure.
A lot of these seem to be quite external. I mean, when I've spoken to others, they've expressed some concerns around, whether the technology is ready. How do we focus on bringing the cost down? The rare earth materials that need to go into the electrolyzers. Do you see these as major issues for the industry?
I will say, from Plug perspective, we are quite in a unique position. We are ready already to tackle all this market. We have our gigafactory producing 100 megawatts stack per month already, and it's only the beginning of it. So we can go with much higher pace if needed to answer the market need. But second thing to take into consideration, we are selling electrolyzer, but we're also building our own electrolyzer plant ourselves for Plug Power. So all the potential issue, problem, project strategy approach that we have faced at the beginning ourselves, we are a small company and we do not replicate this problem to our customer. When our customer get to have a product, have the right product, build it the right way, they get the one that's already tested and pilots in our plants. We don't have the same issue that anyone else, because we are the only one doing such thing on the market due to our amazing fuel cell business unit that is procuring fuel cell all over the place. It has been announced again. We are working very strongly with one French company named Steph, who's like to expand multiple sites, and we have multiple pedestal accounts going around. We have the high-via vehicle, light commercial vehicle that is coming around. Also, this to support the logistic of these companies, asking for more and more and more green hydrogen. It's where we came in with the electrolyzer business unit to support our colleague Supply Them Green. So we have tested everything, but also we acquired frames. So now we call them PSS, Plug System Solution, that are building projects since 35 years in the oil and gas industry. And it's where most of our customers of today are. They are major customers that know to develop the project. When you work with these people, you go through a standard process. You do your feasibility, your concept, then you pre-feed, feed, and you go to your FID, final investment decision. You don't go from feasibility to FID in 1 week, like we have seen, and end up with a complete nightmare or bankrupt project. And unfortunately, we went through this as well, where a customer wanted us. I have a perfect example, 100 megawatts in Spain. And when I asked them, where is your control room? They told me, what is a control room? And I told them, hey, guys, it seems to be a bit lost here. But we had the paper and the order in hand. So we knew, and now we refocused a bit. We now are focusing on different strategy and approach, and we try to educate as much as possible all the newcomers that are not historically from the oil and gas industry market. You need an EPC to support you. You need to do basic engineering. And unfortunately, not everyone is doing the same approach because not everyone in the market producing electrolyzer have the capability internally to support a customer with a complete basic engineering design package that take 4 to 6 months. But if you do it correctly, you go to FID and then you start to execution. You have your small execution engineering at the beginning or deep engineering, but everything is well planned and you don't have any issue with delivery, as you mentioned, or with other challenges that could overcome during the project.
So your partnerships and your capability across the entire chain to support from initial scoping phase to the end is pretty key here. You also have a partnership with Johnson Matthey, is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. And as you know, Johnson Matthey is #1 supplier in the world for rare raw material that could be applied to membrane. But on top of that, Plug Power is working with multiple different membrane coatings. So we're historically using one out of Rochester, outside of Plug Power. And now we have within our Rochester plant our own membrane coating assembly, where we do fuel cell and then stack membrane. So I think we are in the top 5 of the world in terms of production of membrane today ourselves, due to this amazing partnership we have with Johnson Matthey that allow us to have a secured raw material production for the next years and stay ahead of the competition in terms of supply, but also in terms of performances and the products.
And just a question on, Plug obviously originated from in the US. You've branched out to other parts of the world. You're securing large contract orders like the 100 megawatt project that you were talking about in the Netherlands. And your role, your remit, obviously covers Europe, Middle East, Africa, and India. I'm curious to know whether or not you're seeing kind of differences in the deployment of electrolyzers in different regions of the world. I mean, you mentioned water. Obviously, the Middle East, water is quite a significant resource, shortage of resource. Are there other challenges that you're seeing?
It's a pity for me to say I can. I have both Canadian and French citizenship, so I can talk about North America and what I'm seeing in Europe. But 4 years ago, we were in the front head of this green hydrogen transition. Unfortunately, Europe, due to the complexity of what's going on around this new potential market, have a bit lost the pace. The Inflation Reduction Act is an amazing tool. And I think everyone can apply. If you respect the different rules, you get the support from the US government and the tax credit that you are accessible to. In the Europe, you need to go through sometime a 2 to 3 years process just to get awarded the subsidy, if you are lucky enough, and if you are good, and if you didn't miss any paper. Now this is giving a bit a different speed. We have seen, and for me, managing Europe with the team, we had an amazing project. We were starting the feed or needing to start a feed, and the people came back to us 6 months ago and said, "Hey, Devon, we love you. You have the best product on the market according to what we have seen. The efficiency is superb, the performances is excellent, you can deliver. But we are transferring our 1 gigawatt project that we had in Europe or in Africa to US because of the Inflation Reduction Act and the benefit that it can bring. $3 per kilogram is not something that people should not be blind. Obviously, it's a business decision that is important, sometimes some consideration. Then you mention it in some country, what we are seeing else to produce green hydrogen. Obviously, you need a green source of electricity. And there is some country in Europe that are lacking in this green source of electricity. I don't know if you recall, but I think 2 months ago in France, they were opening the first offshore wind turbine park, and they work on it for more than 10 years. So we need this green electricity as soon as possible. There is country that should tackle this green hydrogen potential opportunity and hold the product around as soon as tomorrow morning. For example, Morocco and Namibia, South Africa, Oman, in Middle East, there is plenty of opportunity due to the local resources they have for wind and for electricity. And for them, it will be an amazing opportunity to generate local employment, revenues, but also to growth and to follow the world trend and to help the world to decarbonize their overall industry.
Do you think that you would end up expanding more into some of those other regions that you mentioned that have quite a lot of potential?
As you have seen, we announced 2 gigawatts in Finland, Europe. That's very exciting. And obviously, Plug Power is looking at all the different opportunity where it makes sense. And why we choose Finland, because the local regulation, politics are very good, but also the price of electricity is ultra competitive, as you can imagine. And there is already a local industry that is keen to use tomorrow morning the green hydrogen to decarbonize their end goods that they are producing, from steel, ammonia, different other application. They are keen. They are already there. Some others look at it from far away and said, hey, let's see the first one and then we'll move on. But as you know, the 2.2 gigawatt will be completely finished there by 2030. So it's not tomorrow morning, but it's important to tackle the problem and the challenge we are seeing in these industries now, or by 2030, we'll say, hey, let's do it for 2050, right? We have this first mover, and I think the mindset in the Scandinavian country and Nordics is completely different than in some other parts. And then for all the other country, Plug Power is already strongly present. We have built the largest PEM electrolyzer in Africa, for example, for OCI 30 Globe, that is an ammonia, where we did a pilot with 3 times 5 megawatts. It will be in the end, but today we already have 2 times 5 megawatts fully in operation to produce green hydrogen in order to feed an ammonia plant in Egypt. We have a project where we participate and contribute to Rhino. It's a project in South Africa where Plug Power delivered the refueling station to refuel a big mining truck running on a fuel cell. So we are present. And also we have an office in India. We have an office in Dubai where we support the local market and our delivering project in this country. I have and I don't want to say too much thing, but we have way over and a couple of 100 megawatt being built and assembled at the moment in the Middle East. And we have the capability and the possibility to build locally and to assemble everything, because Plug, through the Frames acquisition, is present since more than 15 years in this area, mostly following the oil and gas market historically. But now we are seeing a big shift in the market where the oil and gas people are seeing this green hydrogen trend as a real business model for their future.
Well, it sounds like Plug has a fantastic track record built up over these years. You've got, pipeline of projects, huge ambitions. You've got the right partnerships in place. If we're talking about, maybe just the market more widely, what do you think, if you had to pinpoint 1 or 2 things that are really kind of lacking at the moment, that would, if that was changed or if that was implemented, would really kind of help the market take off? What would you say would need to happen?
I'm hearing in quite a long period of time the CO2 taxes penalty that should be applied. This will be a big difference, and they are starting now to talk about it to be applying at the border, especially in Europe, only to be the largest consumer in the world. So tomorrow morning you produce ammonia outside of Europe, emitting 10 tons of CO2 for each ton of hydrogen you consume, and you want to import in Europe, you don't pay any penalties. If you start to do it, everyone will have to adapt or to find a new market. But it should be a worldwide regulation, because the problem is not only in Europe, not only in the US, it's globally. And we cannot let the unfortunate other country paying the tribute for what we have done in the past. We should learn from the experience and from where we are. To accelerate the project, we need to do project number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of us together, not only Plug, but the whole market, electrolyzer, the whole industry, allow bank able to reassure the people that put equity around project that give guarantee, mostly the financial sector, are looking for it today with eyes that, okay, let's see, let's wait a bit, or should we trust the 1 gigawatt project right away? As you have seen in Saudi Arabia on the Neom project, amazing project and great opportunity. There is 23 banks to follow the project, not one, not five, 23 different banks, because they want to mitigate the risk as much as possible. They all want to have a small piece of it, but they all want a small pieces. Plug Power is a bit in a different position. We are lucky being an American company often, and we have the capability, and we have also the government, the White House, supporting us with different ECA tools, so exploitation tools that help you to support projects in the end for end customers when they are very large projects and they want to have access to cost-effective money to finance a project. Plug Power will go with Exim to the bank and say, hey, dear bank of their potential customer, we will take the guarantee on the project to support the exploitation of the goods. So that's some different tools that not everyone is already always aware. Then I think what I've done the US with the Inflation Reduction Act should be taken as an example. The process, the regulation is amazing. In Europe, you have the challenge that you have 27 different countries you need to align your ways, and I think sometimes speed is quite important. If we want to give what's the best to the next generation, we need to act now today, all of us. Plug, but the whole green hydrogen market and the whole people that we are seeing in the street by whatever hack you can do tomorrow morning when you wake up.
Thank you very much. It's really inspiring, right? We've heard so much about your plans. Still some challenges in the wider market in terms of needing a CO2 tax. That we need to start getting some of these projects off the ground, deploying them, getting investors confident in investing in the marketplace, and we need to start doing that today. So some inspiring words. Thank you very much for the discussion. We're nearly out of time here, but I just want to express how appreciative I am that you've taken the time to discuss some of the challenges today. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of the wider audience that we really look forward to following you on this journey.
Thank you.
And thanks also to all of our listeners today. We hope that you found this discussion insightful. Please make sure to subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thank you.